Forget the F-35. 7th generation fighters arrived to dominate everything. The development of combat aviation is a relentless cycle of innovation, a technological whirlwind that devours the present and spits out the future. Like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. As much as the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, with its stealth design and sensor fusion capabilities, represents the pinnacle of the 5th generation, the ominous shadow of its replacement is already looming on the horizon. The aerial arms race continues unabated, and the 6th generation, still in its infancy, is already being eclipsed in the minds of engineers and strategists by the revolutionary concepts of the 7th generation. These aircraft, which today are little more than advanced design projects and experimental algorithms, are destined to redefine not only air warfare, but the very concept of military supremacy. The generational leap is so vast that the F-35 and its predecessor, the F-22 Raptor, with all their virtues, will soon be relegated to the role of support platforms at best, or simply museum pieces at worst. The defining characteristic of 7th generation fighter jets will be a perfect symbiosis between complete autonomy and the ability to operate in massive swarms. These will no longer be manned aircraft with artificial intelligence assistance. The 7th generation will be fundamentally unmanned, piloted by advanced artificial intelligence systems capable of making split-second decisions and executing complex combat strategies at speeds no human pilot could match. A human presence in the cockpit will be optional or non-existent, eliminating the physiological limitations imposed by gravity, fatigue, and stress. Aerodynamic design will no longer be constrained by the need to maintain a conscious pilot, enabling extreme maneuvers and hypersonic accelerations that currently seem like science fiction. The concept of a drone swarm, or Collaborative Combat Aircraft, CCA, in the context of 6th generation warfare, will evolve into a massive and adaptive coordination capability, where hundreds or even thousands of aircraft, each with a specific function, will act as a single organism with a centralized mind. This mind, a distributed artificial intelligence system, will be the true brain of aerial combat. In terms of propulsion and speed, the 7th generation will almost certainly adopt hypersonic systems with supercruise capabilities exceeding Mach 5 or Mach 6, 5 or 6 times the speed of sound. These propulsion systems will be variable cycle, or even utilize cold fusion technology, or some other compact high-power energy source still under investigation. The ability to react instantly to threats and cover immense distances in minutes will change the dynamics of power projection. A 7th generation fighter will be able to take off from a base on one continent and be in combat position over another in an incredibly short time, overcoming the range and speed. Limitations of current aircraft. Furthermore, the stealth factor, which was the hallmark of the 5th generation, will be taken to a completely new level, known as super stealth. This will not only involve reducing radar cross-section and infrared signatures, but also implementing active camouflage technology and noise and heat cancellation systems that will make aircraft virtually undetectable by current means. The F-35 will be a beacon in the night compared to these machines. The armament aboard these fighters will be radically different. Traditional kinetic weaponry will be complemented and perhaps even replaced by directed energy weapons. High-energy lasers will be a standard component capable of shooting down incoming missiles, blinding enemy sensors, and even destroying air or ground targets with concentrated pulses of energy. Electromagnetic weapons, such as railguns, could also be an option, firing projectiles at extremely high speeds. The ability of these fighters to generate and manage the enormous amount of energy needed to power these advanced weapon systems will be a colossal engineering challenge that can only be solved with new energy generation and storage technologies. Combat will no longer be an exchange of medium-range missiles, but a battle of light and energy beams. Situational awareness is another playing field that will be completely transformed. 7th generation fighters will not rely on traditional active radar. They will utilize a network of passive sensors, cutting-edge AI-based data fusion technology, and quantum sensors that will allow them to detect, identify, and track threats at extreme ranges with unprecedented accuracy, without emitting any signal that reveals their position. Battlefield information will be a constant stream of quantum-encrypted, shared data among the swarm of fighters, next-generation satellites, and other military assets. Warfare will be a battle of information and data processing, where the machine that can process and act on information, the fastest, will be the winner. An F-35 pilot's cockpit, with its touchscreens and helmet-mounted displays, will seem rudimentary next to this information architecture. Defensive capabilities will also undergo a significant advancement. In addition to the aforementioned defensive laser systems, the 7th generation could incorporate plasma force fields or advanced electronic warfare systems capable of corrupting or completely disabling enemy systems. The platform's survivability concept will shift from simply avoiding detection to rendering enemy attacks irrelevant. These aircraft will be designed to operate in access-denied or anti-access area denial (A2D) environments where enemy air defenses are denser and more lethal. The design and manufacturing process for the 7th generation will also be revolutionary. Fighters will be designed in a purely digital environment using AI-assisted engineering tools to optimize every aspect of the aircraft. Industrial-scale 3D printing and additive manufacturing of advanced materials will enable faster production, greater customization, and the use of smart materials that can change shape or adapt their properties in flight. This is known as open systems architecture and digital design, which will facilitate the continuous integration of new hardware and software technologies throughout the platform's lifecycle. The 7th generation will not be a static design, but a constantly evolving platform. Like, subscribe, and share. The strategic impact of 7th generation fighters will be profound. Air superiority will become absolute and decisive. The nation that first deploys these aircraft will possess an unparalleled military advantage, increasing the pressure on rival nations to match this capability. The concept of deterrence will be strengthened, as the cost of engaging these platforms will be prohibitively high. The 7th generation represents a new era of air warfare, one in which speed, range, power, and artificial intelligence converge to create the ultimate aerial predator. The F-35, despite being an excellent aircraft for the present, will be merely a blurry memory in the rearview mirror of the future. The arrival of the 7th generation will not only dominate the skies, but will rewrite the rules of warfare. The quantum connectivity factor deserves special attention. While 5th generation aircraft like the F-35 rely on advanced data links, 7th generation fighters will integrate quantum communication systems. This means that communications between platforms, and between these platforms and command centers, will be inviolable against any known hacking or electronic interference attempts. The speed of data transfer and the capability of quantum encryption will virtually eliminate the risk of the enemy intercepting or corrupting mission orders or shared situational information. This information security will be as crucial as super stealth and hypersonic propulsion. If the enemy cannot disrupt the combat network, its ability to react and defend itself will be paralyzed. In addition to directed energy weapons, the 7th generation will be capable of deploying and controlling its own mini-swarms within the main swarm. These will be small, almost disposable combat or reconnaissance drones launched by the fighter itself to overwhelm enemy defenses, conduct surprise attacks, or act as advanced decoys. The artificial intelligence's mission management capabilities will be so sophisticated that it will be able to assign roles and redirect thousands of these sub-platforms in real time, adapting to the evolving tactics of the battlefield. A single 7th generation fighter will become a miniature system of systems, a new age air carrier. The integration of cyber and electronic warfare will be complete. Fighter jets will not only protect themselves from enemy electronic threats, but will also be capable of launching cyber attacks against enemy. Command and control systems, radars, and communications networks while in flight. The aircraft will act as an airborne cyber attack node, using its powerful processing systems to search for vulnerabilities and exploit them instantly, disrupting the opponent's operations before the aircraft even has to fire a single projectile or laser beam. This fusion of kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities is one of the biggest conceptual breakthroughs brought about by the 7th generation. The adoption of 7th generation technology will mark the end of the era of the human pilot as the primary actor in air-to-air combat. The human role will shift from that of executor to that of strategic supervisor and mission validator, operating from a secure platform on the ground or in the air, known as a virtual cockpit or command and control center. The ethical and legal implications of this transfer of life or death authority to artificial intelligence are enormous and are already being debated. However, the speed and complexity of future air warfare will make full automation an operational necessity. Current 6th generation programs, such as the US Next Generation Air Dominance, NGAD, the European Future Combat Air System, ECS, and the British Tempest, are direct precursors to the 7th generation. Although the stated goals of these programs are 6th generation, the technology and concepts they are developing, especially in the areas of artificial intelligence, autonomy, and open systems architecture, already point beyond. It is likely that 6th generation technology demonstrators will rapidly transform into 7th generation prototypes as the technology matures. The massive investment in these disruptive technologies by major military powers, such as the US, China, and a European coalition, underscores the imminent transition. The new global hegemony will hinge on the mastery of these air technologies. The F-35 is today's benchmark, but tomorrow it will be the starting point for a new era of total and undisputed dominance. Like, subscribe, and share. Until next time.